What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share and also comment. To my returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back and watching my video. Thank you so much for the love and support, and greetings to my brothers and sisters all the way from Caribbean country. So guys, in today's video I want us to watch this video from Arab man. He has come out and exposed and said how the West, they have captured the black countries in the Caribbean, and also how the West, they have captured African country. So kindly guys, I want you to watch this video till the end, then I'll be back with more comment.
When you're able to maintain a constant amidst the radical changes that sweep over every other element of international relations, global power relationships, international relations, and so on, when you're able to actually keep something unchanged, it lets you know just how important, how paramount it is that this particular status quo remains intact, how important it is to those who are keeping it intact. And I'm talking now about the West's relationship with Africa, because the West's economic relationship with Africa has not fundamentally changed in over 800 years. This is absolutely stunning. If the drastic and rapid changes that can occur and have occurred within the West over just 1 or 2 decades, if that's breathtaking, well, what about the fact that nothing has changed between the West and Africa in basically a millennium? I mean, the relationship was ruthlessly extractive 800 years ago, and it's ruthlessly extractive now. And you can't help but recognize that keeping things this way simply must not only be important to the West, but literally it must be the most important thing to the West. It's so important to them that they have always maintained this status quo no matter what else changes in the world. Wallahi, they're dedicated to the subjugation and the exploitation of Africa more than they're dedicated to anything else. Everything else is allowed to change except for this. This must never change. And it's not difficult to see why. I mean, it's the subjugation and the exploitation of Africa that has enabled the West to impersonate a superior civilization. It's like a con man, a drifter who tries to convince people that he's some sort of an aristocrat or a monarch or something. Well, he needs to have some kind of a display of a monarch's wealth in order to be convincing. And that's been the whole basis for what the West claims about itself being superior. The whole basis has always been that they're materially successful. So, okay, today you have iPhones and technology, you have a high standard of living and so forth. So that means that you must be better. You must be more intelligent. You must be more evolved. You must be more civilized, more advanced than the rest of us. I mean, look how nice their places are. See how much better their stuff is. Well, this is all reliant upon the vicious pillage and plunder of Africa. Without this subjugation, without this exploitation of Africa, Europe and the West would be nothing but crude, emaciated serfs, barely producing enough to survive. Their wealth was primarily derived from theft and plunder, from piracy and slavery, from mass murder and crime. This is just a historical reality. Because of the subjugation of Africa, first through chattel slavery, the extraction of Africa's human resources, and now through the extraction of natural resources, the West has been able to maintain this artificial, unearned status as a so-called civilization. Keeping Africa subject, subordinate, suppressed, and impoverished is an existential need for the West. It's the only way that they can keep up the pretense of their supremacy. Because again, the pretense of their supremacy has never been based upon any actual advancement, any actual sophistication, any actual moral or intellectual development. It has always been based on the violent accumulation of wealth and resources, upon brute power, deceit, and conniving. And Africa, the subjugation of Africa, is the most vital necessity for keeping this con going. I mean, right now, the trade relationship between the West and Africa is that something like 70% of exports to Africa from the West are manufactured goods, and imports from Africa are just the raw materials used to make those manufactured goods. So they're taking from Africa what is needed in order to produce goods that then Africa buys from the West, made with their own raw materials. And the West has done everything possible to try to impede Africa's ability to build its own manufacturing base so that they could potentially use their own raw materials, use their own raw minerals to produce their own goods. I mean, the whole process should be done in-house. It should all be done in Africa. That's what makes sense. You know, you have the materials, you have the minerals, you can make the products. That's how it should be. Rather than giving your raw natural resources to the West for them to manufacture and refine and process and so on, Africa could do all of those things themselves. I mean, imagine the impact that would have. Where would that leave the West then? Well, they know that. The West knows that. They're acutely aware of their actual total dependence upon Africa. If Africa manufactured, if they used their own resources, their own minerals, their own materials for their own industries, well, the entire economy of the West would collapse. And with the collapse of their economy, their whole so-called civilization would collapse. Africa is the foundation upon which they built their house. So they know this. And like I said, this is why no matter what else changes in the world, no matter how power dynamics shift in the world, the subjugation of Africa has been maintained for over 800 years. There's literally nothing more important to them than this. And this is why there are very powerful factions in the West that want to destroy BRICS, and why they fearmonger about Chinese investment in Africa, and why America specifically is engaged in non-stop interference, covert operations, regime change, regime infiltration projects all across the continent. I mean, look at South Africa, the ANC, either out of naivete or corruption, or naivete that devolved into corruption, or out of coercion, or some combination of all of these factors, the ANC collaborated with neoliberal programs for 30 years. I mean, to one degree or another, for the last 30 years. But as global power dynamics have been shifting, and the creation and the ascendancy of BRICS has been taking place, people have started to have aspirations. And more importantly, they've started to have options. And those options have made their aspirations actually achievable. I'm talking about aspirations of political independence, aspirations of economic sovereignty, aspirations of getting out from under the yoke of the West. That's actually becoming achievable now. So the ANC was facing, and they are facing, severe criticism and opposition. They were being challenged. And they were being challenged by parties that do not accept neoliberalism, neoliberal colonialism, corporate colonization. And the U.S. knew that eventually they were going to lose power. Eventually the ANC was going to face the consequences of capitulation and collaboration, and they were going to be removed and replaced. And if the U.S. didn't do something, then the replacement for the ANC was not going to be an obedient client. Because again, South Africa has the option now not to be an obedient client of the West. I mean, as long as there were no options, then it wasn't that risky for America. Even if the ANC lost popularity, no matter who replaced them, they would have no choice but to capitulate to neoliberalism because there was no options. But there are options now. So you have the United States then backing the so-called Democratic Alliance, the DA, which is an overtly neoliberal, Western-aligned, elitist political party of colonizer collaborators. So the unpopularity and the opposition to the ANC opened a space for the DA to move into the government in the last election. So now you have this so-called GNU, the Government of National Unity, which is nothing but a neoliberalism light and a neoliberalism hardcore. It's a coalition of one party that was aligned with the West, the ANC, aligned with the West out of coercion or naivete or corruption, but which could have potentially been influenced by anti-neoliberal populist sentiment if given a chance. Now they've joined together with a party that is intensely committed to colonization, intensely committed to neoliberalism. I mean, they want to privatize everything. They want everything to be sold off to the private sector. They want to hollow out the government completely. And you need this radical neoliberal colonizer faction to be there, because as the new options have emerged, you've now had radical anti-neoliberal positions being advocated and becoming viable. I mean, you're actually having calls for the nationalization of industries rather than the privatization of state enterprises. Well, the West can't have that. So they need something like the DA, the Democratic Alliance, to move in to try to avert the threat of South Africa actually becoming politically independent and economically sovereign. You know, they call it the GNU, but the N shouldn't stand for national. It's the government of neoliberal unity. It's a coalition united against the people of South Africa, in my opinion. So in South Africa, This was a regime infiltration project that was undertaken to actually avert regime change in South Africa. So you're not allowed to talk about anything that isn't basically a policy genuflection to shareholders and to Western supremacy. But everyone knows that these are good policies that would help South Africa, and that the only reason anyone would think that they might not be good for South Africa is because they know that doing a policy that's good for South Africa would prompt a hostile, retaliatory response from the West. Well, like I said, that should show you what kind of a friend the West is. But look, South Africa and all the countries in Africa, all the countries in the global South, in fact, they're in a position today to actually dictate the terms now. If Westerners want to pull out their capital, so say you nationalize, okay, if Westerners want to pull out their capital, they want to withdraw their investments, okay, go ahead. Dig around in your own lands for the minerals you need to make your stuff, and good luck to you. I mean, we have other investors anyway who can take your place. There's other companies that we can partner with. You're not the only ones. So the only question really is, how much are you interested in boosting the economies of China, the economy of Russia, the economy of the Gulf? How much do you want to see the BRICS countries surpass you economically? You know, BRICS already accounts for more of global GDP than the G7. So if you want to pull out your investments, you pull them out. Go ahead. You can only harm yourselves. No. South Africa and the Muslim world and all the global South countries, it's time for them to break away from this paradigm, break away from Western domination and start implementing all of those policies that they know perfectly well will benefit them, whether America likes it or not. I mean, can you imagine if the Gulf countries didn't put their oil sector under government control? Where would they be now? But look at where they are now. Look at the amount of capital they have now. Why South Africa could have and should have a comparably massive sovereign wealth fund. There's no reason for them not to. No, this millennium-long system of subjugation needs to come to an end. And it really doesn't matter if the road to liberation is a little bit rocky. I'd rather be traversing a rocky road than be buried under the rubble, which is where the West has kept Africa for centuries. This is the richest and most important continent on the planet. And the West stole your riches and they stole your importance, and they've been an imposter on the throne for far too long. It doesn't make any sense to be afraid of someone whose power is actually dependent upon you. That's a psychological power, not an actual power. They have a psychological power over you.
I hope you have watched that video from this Arab man coming out and expose how the West, they have captured the black countries in the Caribbean and also African country. He has been majorly mentioning Africa because Africa, it is the home of the black people. All black people, they came from Africa, and that's why this Arab man, he has come out and mentioned Africa. And this Arab man, mainly he's telling us black people, it is now the right time for us black people to come together to stop these West people to using our resources. For a very long time I've been telling you that these people they cannot do without Africa. These people, they cannot do without black people. These people, they depend so much in our countries, in our black countries. Look what it is happening in the Caribbean. Look how these people, they have destroyed Haiti. Right now the Haitian people, they are fighting they are fighting because of these West people, these colonizers. They were turning their leaders to be a puppet. They were turning their leaders to be a sellout leaders, and that's why majority of Asian people, they were not enjoying the benefit of their country, and that's why they have decided to fight back and move and remove these Western people. And for me, I want to tell you that these people right now, they have been using our resources. These people during slavery, they came in Africa, they came in some black countries in the Caribbean, in Jamaica. They took the most precious thing. They took our precious thing here in Africa, and right now they are having our precious thing in their museum. When you go in their museum in UK, in USA, you will find that they are showing in their museum, they are having our resources, they are having our precious thing which they stole, which they took from here in Africa. And yet when we as black people, we are going to their country, they are asking us to pay so that we can see our things that they stole from Africa. For me, guys, I want to tell you that we as African people, it is now the right time for us people to come together. It is now the right time for us black people start removing these leaders who are becoming the puppet, these leaders who are being controlled from outside. I know these people, they are turning our leaders to be a sellout leaders. They are turning our leaders to be a betrayal so that they can control some of our country. And for me, I keep on telling you that you can see what it is happening in Burkina Faso. Look what they are trying to do to Ibrahim Traore. If you don't know Ibrahim Traore is the youngest African president right now. And also, Ibrahim Traore, he has managed to remove the colonizer system in his country. Ibrahim Traore, he has kicked out all the colonizers think that they came with it in Burkina Faso. Right now, he's changing also. Even he has come out and changed the school uniform from the colonizers who came with it, and right now he has introduced a new African uniform. This is to tell you that we should follow the footsteps of Ibrahim Traore. We as the African leaders, they need to follow the footsteps of Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore, he has shown us the way that it is possible. We as African, we as the black countries in the Caribbean, we can live without depending to these West people, to these colonizers. We can do it without them. But these people, they cannot do without us. Look how Africa, it is blessed. Africa, we have minerals, we have resources, and when we see their country, they don't have minerals, they don't have resources. These people, they depend so much in our African country. This Arab man, he has come out and say, these people, they are coming in Africa. They are making African people not to have their own factory. They are coming and buying and taking us and taking the mineral from here in Africa, and they are going back with that mineral in their country. They are processing it, and later they are coming and sell us the final product. This is to tell you that we as Africans, these people are taking us for granted. These people, they are taking our minerals, they are taking our resources, they are going to process it in their country, while when they are processing it in their country, they are creating more jobs for their children, and also they are developing with our resources. I came out and tell you that these people, our resources here from here in Africa, it is funding their healthcare system, and also our resources here in Africa, it is funding it is educating their educational system there in United States. This is tell you that these people, they don't want us African to stand by our own, to stand us alone, because I came out and tell you that there is a guy who came out and say, if these West people, they can give the African its chance to produce or to print its own money, Africa, it will become the richest and more developed country in this world. Simply because we Africa, we have resources. The only thing that these people, they confuse us with it is money. These people, they came with the paper, they put a value in paper. After putting a value in paper, they told us black people that this money or this paper, it is very powerful than our resources, and that's why these people, they are giving us these papers, which it is called money, and we black people, we are giving them our resources, we are selling them our oil, we are selling them our gold, and without knowing that these people, they are using this paper so that to confuse us, because they don't have anything to trade with. And for me, I want to tell you that because of that, these people, they didn't allow African to print its own money. Because if we can produce our own money, why are we selling our minerals, our product to them, and those people, they don't have nothing to offer? These people, they sit down and see they don't have anything to offer, and they decided to print, to give us this paper and put more value in their paper, in this paper, which it is called money, so that we can believe that money, it is very powerful than our resources. So and also, guys, I want to tell you that we as black people, liberation, it has already started. We need to come together. We need to support each other. I know it is very difficult for us black people to support each other. I know it is these people, they were during slavery, these people, they spoiled our mind as black people. They told us that the races that black people should embrace, the races that black people should support, it is the white people. And that's why you will find out, you will see the black people, they are the ones who we are known for supporting these other races. You will see black people going to support the India, black people are going to support the Chinese, black people are going to support the white people, instead of us black people to support our own race. And for me, I keep on telling you that it is now reach a time to where black people, we need to come together. So kindly guys, subscribe if you haven't, like this video, share and comment. See you on my next one. Bye bye.